Hello students, this is the fifth video related to the chapter the Union Parliament. Before than this we have discussed about formation, composition and tenure of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, about its presiding officers and other parts of the Parliament. Today we are going to discuss about the exclusive powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So as the word exclusive suggests, that means only the special powers which are given to Lok Sabha and the special powers exclusively given to the Rajya Sabha. So first we will discuss exclusive powers of the Lok Sabha. So the important and the very uh, revealing, or rather I would say what could change the decision of whole of the parliament, or could change the phase of the parliament, that is the motion of confidence. As we know, if we pass the motion of confidence, immediately the ruling government has to resign if the vote of no confidence motion is passed in the house by majority of the ministers. Then immediately the ruling party, as we can say prime minister, along with its cabinet, has to resign. So we can understand how powerful the vote of no confidence motion is, and that exclusive power is only given to Lok Sabha. It cannot be vote of no confidence motion cannot be proposed neither passed in Rajya Sabha. It is only the special power which is given to the Lok Sabha. Then money bill. Do remember this thing, children. It is very important. Money bill can only be introduced in Lok Sabha. Usually children get confused in this part and they write in their exams that money bill can only be passed in Lok Sabha. No, that will be wrong. Money bill can be passed in Lok Sabha also and in Rajya Sabha also. But introduction of the bill can only be possible in Lok Sabha. It cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. But if we talk about ordinary bill, ordinary bill can be introduced in both the houses, wherever either of the houses rather I would say. But money bill only can be introduced in Lok Sabha. Then another authority, in case of a deadlock between the two houses. Which two houses? Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Deadlock is what? In case of the conflict between the two houses over the non-financial bill. Okay, as you can mark it over here, I have written in bold letter, children, non-financial bill, because on the matter of financial bill there is no joint sitting. It is not possible to have any discussion regarding the joint sitting in any of the house, or we can have joint sitting of both the houses. That is not possible for the financial bill. It is only possible for the ordinary bill or the non-financial bill. So it says, in case of a deadlock between the two houses over the non-financial bill, the will of Lok Sabha will prevail. So why the will of Lok Sabha will prevail? Because if you remember, in the composition we have seen the number of total strength of Lok Sabha is maximum can be 552, and for Rajya Sabha it is 250. So almost half, or even more than half, we can say less than half we have in Rajya Sabha, or we can say double of the Rajya Sabha we have it in Lok Sabha. So therefore as the number of people are more in Lok Sabha, so therefore whatever is the will of Lok Sabha, that will only prevail here means that will be only accepted. If there is a confusion between Rajya Sabha and there is a confusion between Lok Sabha regarding any ordinary bill or regarding any non-financial bill. Now the exclusive powers of Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha has the power to declare the creation of new all India services in the national interest. Now which type of all India services? You must have heard about Indian administrative services like IAS, IPS, Indian Police Services, IFS, Indian Foreign Services, Indian Forest Services. So all these are the administrative services which comes under the All India Services. So if any requirement is there, any need is there of introduction of any new All India Services, that can be done in the Rajya Sabha, and it should be only in the national interest. If it is going to affect whole of the nation, if it is going to benefit whole of the nation, then creation will be possible by the Rajya Sabha. When the Lok Sabha is dissolved after or before an emergency, Rajya Sabha becomes the sole de facto and de jure parliament. Now, what is sole de facto? That means it is the supreme power. When Lok Sabha is no more, it is no more in session, and at the time of emergency, when we cannot make another election immediately, in such situation the responsibility comes on the Rajya Sabha and all the decisions are taken by the Rajya Sabha. Third, when the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by a 2/3 majority that a matter in the state list has assumed national importance. If by 2/3 majority a resolution is passed in the Rajya Sabha that the matter of the state list, as we know, in the state list only state government can make the law, but if the union feel, or if the member of Rajya Sabha, 2/3 member of Rajya Sabha feel, yes, the matter has assumed national importance and it is not going to affect only that particular state whereas whole of the nation, that in such situation the law could be made by the center government and the authority will be with the Rajya Sabha members. Now next, if we compare ordinary bill and money bill, let's see. Introduction. The ordinary bill can be introduced either in Lok Sabha or in Rajya Sabha, which as I have told you, but money bill can only be introduced in Lok Sabha. Sometimes children, difference comes to, usually in exam the question is asked related to the state the difference between ordinary bill and money bill. So all these points you can learn and write it over there. So then introduction. Who can introduce the ordinary bill? Minister or a private member, anyone, either minister or a private member can introduce ordinary bill in the house, but money bill can only be introduced by a minister. Then president's recommendation. For ordinary bill, president recommendation is not required, but for money bill, before the money bill is introduced in the house, it has to take recommendation or permission of the President of India. Then Rajya Sabha's role in ordinary bill. Rajya Sabha can ordinary bill can be amended, rejected by the Rajya Sabha. If the ordinary bill is proposed in the Rajya Sabha, then they can amend, they can bring some change or they can reject the ordinary bill. But money bill cannot be amended or rejected by the Rajya Sabha. The only condition what they can do, that is that they have to either return the bill with or without the recommendation. So once it is proposed in the Rajya Sabha, either it has to be with the recommendation sent back to the Lok Sabha or without the recommendation. And if it is without the recommendation, that means automatically within the 14 days the money bill is considered to be passed by Rajya Sabha. Whether Rajya Sabha agrees on it or disagree on it, still the money bill will be assumed as passed by the Rajya Sabha. But this is not applicable for the ordinary bill. In ordinary bill, the consent and the recommendation of Rajya Sabha matters a lot. In that, it will not automatically be passed, will be assumed as the passed by the Rajya Sabha. Then the president assent. President assent means president's consent. In ordinary bill, Rajya Sabha bill can be rejected or approved or returned for reconsideration by the President. But in money bill, money bill can be rejected or approved but cannot be returned for reconsideration by the President. So either it can be rejected or approved, but we cannot return the return for the reconsideration by the President. Then the joint sitting of the House, as I have told you, for ordinary bill, joint sitting is possible between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, but for money bill, there is no joint sitting for the of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Why? Because automatically it is passed within the 14 days. So therefore there is no joint sitting for the money bill, but for ordinary bill joint sitting is possible, in which Lok Sabha usually prevail. Why? Because of its numerical strength. Then the procedure how a bill turns out into a law, the laws which we hear from the parliament, from the government. So what is the procedure which is followed to make a bill into a law? So first of all, whenever any draft is being proposed or any law we want to make in a country, we have to propose that in either of the house, either in Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha, and it is proposed in the form of a bill, or we can say introduction of the law, whatever we want a law to be made, then we introduce it into the house in form of a bill. Then it passes to the first house. First house here, as we are discussing about ordinary bill, so first house can be Lok Sabha also and first house can be Rajya Sabha also, but this is specifically for ordinary bill. Remember this thing, children. Okay, so if it is proposed in the first house and if it is passed, then it goes to the second house. But before it passes from first house to second house, it has three level procedure or three procedure which is followed, or three steps which is followed in Lok Sabha or in Rajya Sabha. So in first step, introduction of the bill. In second, it is discussion takes place on the bill, and in third, voting takes place, that how many members agree on that bill and how many members disagree on that bill. And if it is proposed, if it is passed by majority of the votes, then it is assumed as it is passed by the house, then it is passed on to the next house. Then the same procedure is followed in second house also. So first introduction, second discussion, and third step, that is the reading. And if in case second house disagree with the bill which is passed by the first house, so and or if they want some more clarification in that particular bill, then a joint sitting can be called of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. But this is the conditional, if such problem is there. If any confusion is not there, and if it is already passed by the second house also, then it is sent, the bill is sent to the president for the signature, and once the signature is done on the bill, then a bill turns out into a law. But if the second house feels that some confusion is there or some problem is there, then the joint sitting can be called of both the houses, and whatever the decision will be taken after that, then only it will be sent to the president for his consent or for his assent and for the signature, and then bill turns out into a law. So this procedure is followed only for the ordinary bill. The procedure for money bill is slightly different from the ordinary bill. Now what is the procedure for the money bill? As we know, the bill, as I have told you, it is the rough draft which is prepared for any law. So with the consent of President of India or with the permission of the President of India, the bill is proposed in which house, children? I have told you just now, the bill is proposed in only in Lok Sabha. it cannot be proposed in Rajya Sabha. Okay, so after bill is proposed in Lok Sabha, it is introduced and it is passed in Lok Sabha, then it is sent to the Rajya Sabha. Now what Rajya Sabha can do over here, either Rajya Sabha can give recommendation, or if give recommendation and send it back to the Lok Sabha. If Lok Sabha agrees on that recommendation, then well and good, and if Lok Sabha disagrees on the recommendation, then automatically within the 14 days it is assumed that the Rajya Sabha has passed the bill, and then it goes for the president's signature and the bill turns out into a law. Now there are some other important terms which are related to the Union Parliament, which is important for you all children. Usually these questions are asked in board exams. Okay, so these are the terms which will be very helpful for you to understand the functions of the government, how it works. So pocket veto. In a pocket veto, the president neither ratifies the bill, neither permits the bill, nor rejects or return the bill to the parliament, but simply keep the bill pending for an indefinite period of time. So as we have seen, in passing of any of the bill, the consent of the president is bound to sign the bill which is passed by Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. But president is having one special authority with him, that if he disagrees on any particular bill, so he, as we know, he cannot reject it, he cannot send it back. Then what he can do, he can keep the bill with himself as a pocket veto for indefinite period of time, which cannot be specified. So this is the special authority which is being given to the President of India. The sessions of the parliament, sometimes children in exam it is asked what is session. Okay, so you need to learn this. The period during which the house meets to conduct its business is called a session. So the time span during which which house meets, either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, both meets to conduct its business, to have the discussion. What is the business? To have the discussion, and that particular thing is known as the session. The constitution empowers the president to summon each house at such intervals that there should not be more than a 6 months gap. So for any proceeding of the house, we need to have at least 6 months gap. Minimum 6 month gap, or at least in the Parliament of India should meet at least twice a year. It should not be more than that. That is mandatory, and the gap should not be more than the 6 years between the 6 months between the two sessions. Hence the parliament must meet at least twice a year. Very, very important, children. Many times this question has been asked, what should be the maximum gap between the two sessions of the house, and or how many times minimum parliament should meet. So remember, twice a year minimum. In India, parliament conducts 3 sessions every year. That is budget session, monsoon session, and the winter session. So when I was teaching you budget, I have already told you it is usually in the end of the February and starting of the March. Then monsoon session from July to September, and winter session from November to December. Quorum, again important. It is basically signifies the minimum number of members that must be present inside the parliament when Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha to begin its proceeding. Now there is a minimum number of people which is required to start the proceedings of the house. Like though we have got 552 members, maximum, or we can say the composition of the Lok Sabha is of 552 members, but to conduct its business, to start the proceeding, to have the meeting, we should at least have at least 1/10 of its member present in the house. Same is applicable for the Rajya Sabha. 1/10 of the Rajya Sabha members should be present to conduct the proceedings of the house. Now 1/10 of the Rajya Sabha will be different because there the numerical strength is 250 and for Lok Sabha it is 552. Okay, so whatever will be the at present number of seats, like at present in Lok Sabha we have got 543 members, so 1/10 of the 543 members should be present to conduct its business or to start the proceedings of the house. Question are: the first hour on every working day of the house is reserved for questions unless otherwise decided by the speaker. So, as the name suggests, question hour, an hour which is dedicated to ask the questions. Who is asking question to whom? Uh, the member of parliament are asking question to the ruling government, and the answer has to be made by the ruling government. A member of the house may ask the questions from the government. Which type of questions? On the matter of public interest, for the welfare of the people. So here the matters which are related to the public interest, only those questions will be asked by the member of the parliament to the ruling party. Then the right to ask the questions from the government, important again, is known as interpellation. Important. The right to ask the question from the minister is known as from the government is known as the interpellation. A member has to give 10 days notice for a question. So if you want to ask a question in the parliament to the government, you need to give a prior notice to the government that you are going to ask this particular question. Then there are 3 types of questions. That is start questions, unstart questions, and short notice questions. Now, what are start questions? Start questions are those to which a member wishes to have an oral answer on the floor of the house. Start questions in which we expect the answer should be asked in oral form. Question will be asked also in oral form and answer will also be given in oral form. So just like in our school children, like if we take test, sometimes teachers take written test and oral test. So if I ask oral questions to you all, so you will answer to me orally, and what can do, like in oral answers I can cross question you on those oral answers which you are giving. But and in written test, teacher will ask question in written form and student will answer also to the teacher in written form. At that moment, supplementary question or any additional question cannot be asked by the teacher, because when she will see the answer what student has written, that will be quite later on, or after some time only she'll be able to check the answers what student is writing or student has written. In oral test, teacher can ask additional question then and there or immediately. Now let's see what are the short notice question. Start question. Start questions are those to which a member wishes to have an oral answer on the floor of the house. That means oral questions are asked, and the government will also answer the question in oral form. Such questions are indicated by an asterisk mark, and supplementary questions may be asked after replies to such questions are given by the ministers, just like the oral test. And unstart questions are questions to which answers are given in a written form, where no supplementary questions can be asked thereon, just like the written test. Now, short notice question, as the name suggests, the questions which are asked at the short notice. Start questions and unstart questions, for that prior permission of 10 days are required. But short notice questions are those questions for which questions could be asked less than the 10 days notice can be given. So it relates to matter of urgent importance. Such questions are asked with a notice shorter than of 10 days. The minister concerned has to be asked whether he can reply to the question at a short notice or not. Now, decision of the minister depends whether he wants to answer and he will be answer or will be able to answer or not. Then it is for him to accept or not to accept short notice questions. 0 hour. 0 hour starts at 12 o'clock, soon after the question hour. So basically, the session of the parliament starts at 11 o'clock. So 11 to 12 o'clock, usually the parliament has question hour. And just after the question hour, we have the session of 0 hour, which starts from 12 to 1 o'clock and which continues till the lunch break. And at 1 o'clock, the lunch break takes place. So during the 0 hour, member raise all types of question. Now in question hour, the types of questions are quite limited because it has to take prior permission, and it has to be classified between start question, unstart question, and short notice question. But in 0 hour, all type of questions or any type of questions can be asked without any permission or prior notice. So sometimes the question comes, state the difference between question hour and 0 hour, or state the difference between start questions and unstart questions. So prepare it well. Then two types of motions are there: adjournment and prorogation of the house. Adjournment, as I've underlined it, you can see it, means suspension of the sitting of the house, whereas prorogation means termination of the session of the parliament. Suspend and terminate, these are the two terms I think which will make adjournment and prorogation much more clear to you. Suspension can be done for a time period, but termination is the total removal of that particular session or removal of a person or a particular session. So therefore adjournment means to suspend it for some time, and prorogation means to terminate for fully or totally. Like if we take an example from a school, if a girl or if a boy, if he misbehaves in a class or maybe in a school or does something for which is serious, and the person has to the principal announces to suspend the child from the classes for a time period, maybe for a week, for a month, or for 15 days. But rustication of the student, if the mischief is too grave or too serious, then the total removal of the student will be possible from the school through the termination word, or we can say through the rustication. So here suspension is for the time period and termination is there for the total removal. So adjournment to suspend the house, prorogation to terminate the house. Thank you.